to be as a kid?
A musician. That's my whole life, music. It still is my life. I wanted to be a musician. My mother and father took me to Wurlitzer, which is a big music store, and bought me a set of drums. And I played in my house, and every day the police would come and say, "You're making too much noise." And eventually I became a musician. And getting involved with lettering took quite a bit from being a musician. I was a jazz musician. I played with Woody Herman. I played with Stan Kenton, which were big bands at that time. And I was considered a damn good drummer. Of course, going on the road from one place to the other wasn't satisfactory in living with a woman, a wife, who was a jazz freak herself. But when the baby came, there was no way I could go on the road. So I was going to work on 52nd Street with a band called Tiny Grimes in a restaurant called the Three Deuces. On the way to work on Fifth Avenue, there was a sign on the side of a building in a glass brass frame, and it said, "Be an artist." It didn't say "draw me," but it said "Be an artist." And the name of the school was called the Workshop School. So I decided to go in and register. Since the government paid for education, I got out of the Army, I could become a tap dancer and go to school, learn how to be a tap dancer, be like Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers kind of thing. But I decided to be an artist, and I wanted to paint naked people, naked ladies especially. My first job was a sign painter really at a publishing company called Ideal Publishing, who did magazines called True Confessions, True Stories, True Love, Photoplay Annual, Photography, all these magazines. My job was to be a cleavage retoucher. My job was to take it out, take the cleavage out, remove it. So I was very good with an airbrush and buying doilies in the 5 and 10. You ever see a doily? A pack of doilies, you can spend an hour just taking, there's thousands of them. And I used to paste the doily on the lady's chest and cover up the cleavage. And I became good at it, so I figured, okay, that's the closest I'm ever going to get to drawing a naked lady, just to cover it up. And that's how it all started, right there. That was the beginning of my career as a graphic designer. Music and art are definitely related. I think that's how I accidentally tripped into the graphic arts community. Music is placing sounds to me in their proper order so they're pleasing to the ear, that's all. What is graphic design? Placing things in their proper order so they're pleasing to the eye. Can you imagine a person, just for one moment, who really is tone deaf, cannot hear sounds properly? When they sing, "My country 'tis of thee," they go, "My country 'tis of thee, sweet land of..." And when you go to someone's birthday at a restaurant, they sing "Happy birthday to you," all over the place. You know the person's tone deaf. I wonder if there's such a thing as called eye deaf, where you really can't see. Maybe there's an illness, because I've seen so many designs and graphic designers and typography and fonts. Looks to me like this person is eye deaf. I think the first typeface I did was, I was going to school at a place called the Workshop, and my teacher was a man by the name of John Shadler, and he was teaching the class. And one day he came in with a script. It was called Shadler's script. It was beautiful. And he showed it to the class, and I went home that night and decided to draw one. It took him a year. I went home at night after deliberation, and I decided to draw one too. So I drew the first script. It took me about 3 days. It took him 3 years or whatever. And I took it to photo lettering and showed it to Ed Ronthaler, who was the president of photo lettering. And he said, "Beautiful, we'll take it." Not realizing they take anything. It wouldn't make any difference. And I was so proud, I called it, after my wife, Norma's Script. And the second one after that was a man, J. Walter Thompson, called me up and he said to me, "Would you like to design a font for the Ford Truck Company?" And I said I'd be thrilled, and I named that one after my son, called Johnny. They're both ugly. They're both disgustingly ugly. It was really early ugly, and I know from ugly. The fonts that I like, that I've designed, we have to understand that most of the fonts I've designed are like my children. It's like babies, like children, they're born. You like them all, but there's always idiosyncrasies about, like children, that go on. I don't really like anything I've ever designed. I find fault with everything, for that matter. The one I like the very best is the one that we put into the ITC library called Benguiat. And I like that one the very best. But I still don't, I find idiosyncrasies with it. And like anything else, after it's finished, you always say, I should have, I would have, and I could have, but I didn't. You can't go back. You know, in designing a font, BC, before computers, you just didn't sit down and get it. You had to draw it. And people don't realize the work that it took. For example, in the latest font that's out there called Benguiat, that alphabet took about 1.5 years to draw. It's hard to imagine drawing something, and we'll eliminate the computer from the conversation at this point, but drawing something so carefully that you make a letter A and it's finished. Now you've got to have a letter B to go with the letter A. You don't know how wide to make it, how narrow to make it, how to draw it, what tools to use, and it was a hell of a lot of work, really, to draw. Well, at that time it was 26 letters, 10 numbers, a couple of commas, periods, and question marks. Today, if you're doing a font, you have over 100 characters, maybe 150. I wouldn't want to have to draw 150 characters, believe me. A lot of people have asked me a very simple question. How do you become a type designer? They've asked me this question for years. I can show anyone and tell anyone how to be a great baseball player. But if you haven't got it in you, no matter how much I teach them or show them, you're never going to make it. I mean, a lot of people want to hit that home run. I usually tell my students how to write a bestseller book. People say, wow, you can tell us how to write a bestseller book. Not only that, I can tell you how to write a bestseller piece of music, and you'll make a fortune. Wow, tell me, how do you do this? Well, simple. I give you all of the tools. What's the tools of writing a book? I give you a dictionary. All the words are there. Go ahead, write the book. Wow. No, it doesn't work that way. You have to know how to put the words together. What about music? I give you all the notes for free. They're there. Everybody can have them, but I'm giving them to you now as a gift. Write a piece of music. Nope. Go to the subway platform and watch people walking up and down steps. Some people walk down steps like this. Nice. Some people walk down steps like this. Nice. Some people walk down steps. And they're getting to the bottom. Now they have to look. You don't have to look at the last step. Ding, 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 ding. You're there. Timing, coordination. You don't practice that. It comes with innate things in your body. Hard to explain, but it's there. Same thing with creating a font. You've got to have ability and skill. If you haven't got it, forget it. You lose. Now maybe the computer will help you. But if you don't know how to use the computer to let it help you, what good is it? And if you can't see, that's not going to help either. Everybody is a type designer now. Every person. All you have to do, I can design a typeface on a computer in 5 minutes. 5 minutes how? Just pick up a pencil and draw A, B, C, D, scan it, put it in the computer. It's a font. I can't teach you how to see. No one can. So the computer is only as good as the person operating it. My granddaughter, when she was 7 years old, she went like this. Look, Poppy, I made a typeface. And she held up a graph paper thing where she filled in the little squares and made an A. She made a B, which looked like an 8. But nevertheless, it was beautiful. At least I told her it was beautiful. And it's a font. A 6-year-old little girl. You've got to know your tools and how to use them, and use them well. But that man, use them better than anybody in the neighborhood. You've got to be the best. Not almost the best. But remember, if you're tone deaf or you're eye deaf, I can't help you. Not even the computer will help you.